Hey guys, welcome to a little Friday reflection. Today I'm going to be talking about 3 typical fears that people face when they move to a different country. Starting off, I'm going to quote one of my heroes, Captain Jack Sparrow. And he will always say, "Wait for the opportune moment." Sadly, I've got to debunk what Captain Jack has told us in so many of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And I can tell you, the opportune moment will never arrive, especially if you're thinking about taking the risk and moving to another country. I'm talking about Spain specifically because I kind of know a little bit about it, having done it myself, but I think this is kind of applicable to most countries as well. Sorry Jack, again, but I'm speaking specifically about finance here. So you're waiting for the planets to align in regards to your finances. And I've looked at it in 3 different ways: job, house, car. Okay. Now, I'll take you back to 2011. I was working an office job. It wasn't so bad. I mean, it wasn't my favorite thing in the world, a typical office job working in a call center. I'd been living at home for a couple of years because I couldn't afford to buy my own place. I'd saved a little bit of money, and so, I was 27 years old, so I started to look at buying a car, buying a house, because heaven forbid that someone should arrive at 30 years of age without owning a house and buying a car, right? It's just an unthinkable thing. So, I was working this job back near my hometown in England, and I met with a mortgage advisor. We started doing the numbers. I looked at a small little flat in my hometown, and we started the wheels rolling as to me potentially buying it. Around the same time, I bought a car, a second-hand car, because I passed my driving test quite late. I was 27, 26 when I passed my driving test. So I went out and I bought a car as well. A few months later, I was living in Spain, and I had to sell the car for about half the price I paid for it. So lesson learned, right? But again, just to illustrate the point, finances in these types of things, you just can't control them sometimes. So I reached a key point. I was still working this job, and I had made a decision that I didn't really want to be there anymore for whatever reason, and I had a couple of things lined up. One was an interview with a company down in London, and the other was a kind of a roll of the dice. I applied for this teaching position, for teacher training actually in Spain, and I received a phone call from them both on the same day. I spoke to this girl at lunchtime, I think it was, from this company down in London. I don't remember what the job was really, but she said, "Right, there's 100 of you coming down next week. Please confirm your attendance, right? Because you're going to come down, make sure you're all suited up, make sure you're full of energy and enthusiastic, and you're going to do a presentation, and we're going to find the most dynamic, interesting, fun people, and you're going to have a company car, and you're going to do this, you're going to go on the road and sell things." So I just kind of, yeah, thanks, I'll be there. I never contacted them again. Later the same day, I got a phone call from the college where I was going to do teacher training, and they said, "Okay, are you interested?" We had a little chat, and I ended up doing that. So it was, if you think of it like this, like one way was the London job thing, which was sales or some bullshit job, and the other was coming across here and getting into teaching. So I made that decision in the end, and if I look at it, if you look at the opportune moment, it was probably the least opportune moment. I just bought a car. I was in talks for the mortgage. Financially, it was just not a good move for me. But if you wait for that, if you wait for the planets to align and for the stars to be in the correct place and all that, it's never going to happen. So the first thing I can tell you is, do not wait for the opportune moment. It's not going to arrive. Okay, second thing. I'm going to take you back in time again to a period between 2001 2004. Because this was, in terms of friends and family, a great period for me. I was at university. I had a great group of friends up there. I also had a great group of friends back in my hometown, so I had friends in different areas. All my family were alive and well, so it was perfect. The social and family part of my life was great. And at that point, I wasn't really thinking of moving because I thought, wow, this is going to stay the same forever. great groups of friends, family's fine, perfect. But here's the thing. These things change whether you want them to or not. Okay, so staying where you are purely because you enjoy the company of this group of friends you're in, or because your family's there, these things change and you have zero control over them. Okay, so that period I was talking about was between 2001, 2004. Fast forward 10, 15 years, complete change. Like, my friends were all over the globe now. There are some of them in the States, some of them in Australia, some of them in Canada, some of them in different parts of England, different parts of Europe. So friendship groups, they just change. People, the dynamic changes. People are going to get married, they're going to have kids, they're going to move away, they're going to take job promotions, they're going to change where they are. And if you just stick around because you're hoping that stays the same for the rest of your life, you're going to get left behind. It's a very dangerous thing to do. It's going to change regardless of whether you want it to or not. Same for family. You know, they're going to have job opportunities, they're going to fulfill their dreams and move away or whatever. Older family, we know what happens, they move on. In the space of 10 years, my grandparents, all of them, left us, you know, they died. I actually missed my grandmother's funeral because I was over here doing teacher training. There is a price to pay, but you're going to pay that price regardless, in my opinion. So staying in a place purely because you're hoping that the social group or the family group stays the same, I wouldn't recommend you do it. It's up to you, of course, but I wouldn't recommend you do it because it's going to change. You have zero control over it. Time is kind of inexorable. It goes forward and nothing you can do about that. Final thing, guys, is be careful who you ask for advice if you're making this very big decision with your life. A lot of people ask friends and family. My personal view is that the decision to stay or go should come from you first. And then later you can ask for advice on, I don't know, paperwork or finding accommodation, this type of thing. That's the thing to ask advice about. Personally, just my view, I don't think you should ask advice about whether or not you should make the move in the first place. And let me just explain why a little bit. A lot of people ask advice from friends and family, and really, if you think about it, if you look at the life that person's leading, you can kind of predict the advice they're going to give you beforehand. And a lot of the time it's going to contradict itself and you're going to end up more confused than when you started. For example, let's just imagine you're thinking of moving abroad. You've got a lump sum of cash for whatever reason. Pull a figure out the air, 10 grand, okay? 10 grand. I didn't have 10 grand, but whatever. So you go to your friend. Your friend is about the same age as you, could be 30, 40, whatever. They've spent their youth backpacking around Thailand or Asia, whatever. And you say to them, look, I've got this money. I'm thinking of moving abroad, what should I do? They're going to say, yeah, man, get a round the world ticket, you know, rent a hut on a beach in Thailand, you know, go to the full moon parties, backpack over to Vietnam, do this, spend all your money, live in the moment, yeah. And you think, oh, not quite what I was expecting, a bit extreme. But okay, take that on board. Next, you go to a friend who's been, solid. He's worked his job since he left school or left uni, in whatever job that may be. He's got a house, car, whatever. So you say, oh, look, I've got this money. Thinking of moving abroad. I've spoken to this guy. He said, maybe I could go traveling around Thailand or something and spend it all. He's going to say, well, no. I mean, you should invest that in a hedge fund and get yourself a yearly dividend payment, or put a deposit down on something or other, you know, put it towards a house, put it towards a car. You're thinking, okay, complete opposite advice. Wow. And you're going to come out of that utterly confused because you've got these two polar opposites, because you've asked people from different backgrounds, you know. So I don't recommend you do it. That part, I think you're opening yourself up to so much contradictory information that the decision needs to come from you. And it needs to be in your head what you want to do. And then later, yes, you can go and ask for advice about the technicalities of doing it. But yeah, just don't confuse yourself, man. Like, the procrastination is the enemy of progress, I think someone said. And when you've got so much information to sift through and so many different opinions, you're going to end up procrastinating. So just make a decision here, follow through with it. Okay, so in summary, do not wait for the opportune moment. It's not coming. Don't hang around because your friends are there. They won't be there forever, nor will your family. And advice, just be very careful who you ask. Can be a bit of a pitfall. So in the end, good luck if that's what you're on the road to making this decision. There is no right and wrong. Everyone is unique. Everyone has their own individual path that they're going to dig out for themselves over the course of their life. And I hope just by addressing these fears that it's been of some use to you as well. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend.